The late morning sunlight spilled across the quiet suburban street just as Rowan Mercer stepped out of his small blue house, holding the tiny hand of his 6-year-old daughter, Ivy. It should have been another ordinary Saturday, but it became the morning that shattered years of carefully built emotional walls. Before Rowan could even open the passenger door of his aging sedan, someone across the street froze in place. A pair of familiar eyes watched him helping Ivy into the back seat while another woman waited beside the car, smiling politely. The grocery bag slipped from the observer's hands, oranges rolled across the sidewalk, and in that heartbreaking moment she realized something she had spent years refusing to admit. As Rowan drove away toward what was supposed to be his first blind date since losing his wife, she whispered words no one else could hear. "Why not me?" Those 3 words carried years of silent love, hidden sacrifices, and opportunities that had quietly slipped away. Before we continue this emotional journey, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the beautiful ways life surprises us, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who believes in hope, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another heartfelt story. For almost 7 years, Rowan had lived the same careful routine. Every morning began before sunrise. He packed lunches, braided Ivy's hair after watching countless online tutorials, burned pancakes more often than he admitted, and somehow managed to reach his job as a landscape architect just in time. Every evening ended with homework, bedtime stories, laundry folded on the couch, and quiet tears that only appeared after his daughter had fallen asleep. The empty side of the bed remained untouched since the day his wife, Nora, lost her battle with a sudden illness. Friends often reminded him that life had to move forward, but grief did not obey calendars. It lived inside ordinary moments, hiding inside grocery stores where he accidentally reached for Nora's favorite cereal or playground benches where he watched other parents laughing together while he sat alone. Across the street lived Maren, a children's librarian whose cheerful smile had become one of the few constants in Rowan's unpredictable world. She arrived in the neighborhood shortly after Nora's passing. At first, they were nothing more than polite neighbors exchanging small waves while collecting mail or watering flowers. Slowly, almost without either of them noticing, their lives became gently connected through simple acts of kindness. When Rowan overslept after working late, Maren quietly walked Ivy to school. During winter storms she shoveled his driveway before dawn. When Ivy caught the flu, homemade soup appeared on the porch with no note attached because Maren never wanted gratitude to become uncomfortable. She never crossed invisible boundaries, never pushed herself into Rowan's life, and never expected anything in return. Everyone else noticed what Rowan could not. Elderly neighbors smiled whenever Maren and Ivy planted flowers together. Teachers assumed Maren was part of the family during school events because she always volunteered whenever Rowan had unavoidable meetings. Even Ivy adored her, calling her the neighborhood sunshine because every visit somehow ended with laughter, books, or homemade cookies. Yet Rowan saw only a compassionate neighbor who deserved someone free from emotional baggage. He believed his broken heart made him incapable of offering anyone the happiness they deserved. Months passed, and loneliness quietly settled deeper into Rowan's life. His sister finally convinced him to accept a blind date arranged by a coworker. She gently reminded him that moving forward did not mean forgetting Nora. It simply meant allowing himself permission to live again. After several sleepless nights, Rowan reluctantly agreed, believing one lunch could not possibly change anything. That Saturday morning arrived bright and warm. Ivy wore her favorite yellow dress because she was spending the afternoon with Rowan's sister. Rowan nervously adjusted a tie he had not worn in years. Looking into the mirror felt unfamiliar. He barely recognized the man staring back. There were more gray hairs than before, deeper lines beneath tired eyes, and a hesitant expression filled with guilt for doing something that once seemed impossible. As Rowan stepped outside, Maren happened to return from the farmer's market. She immediately noticed his carefully pressed shirt and polished shoes. Then she saw the unfamiliar woman standing beside his car, smiling warmly while introducing herself to Ivy. The realization landed like a wave crashing against solid stone. For years Maren had convinced herself there would always be more time. More mornings to deliver muffins. More afternoons reading books with Ivy. More opportunities for Rowan to notice the love quietly waiting beside him. But seeing him leave with another woman made time suddenly feel fragile. She bent to gather the fallen oranges, but tears blurred her vision. Hidden behind a trembling smile, she whispered the question that had silently lived inside her heart for years. Why not me? The blind date itself was pleasant enough. Rowan met Clara, a kind elementary school counselor with an easy laugh and gentle patience. They shared stories over lunch beneath bright cafe windows while soft music played in the background. Clara spoke warmly about helping children overcome anxiety. Rowan admired her compassion. Yet every conversation somehow drifted toward Ivy, toward home, toward familiar memories that unexpectedly included Maren. He realized he mentioned his neighbor several times without thinking. Clara noticed it too. Sometimes the people we describe without realizing it are the ones already living inside our hearts. That thought lingered in Rowan's mind long after lunch ended. Meanwhile, Maren spent the afternoon shelving books at the library, smiling politely for visitors while quietly fighting the ache inside her chest. She replayed every missed opportunity. Every birthday cake she baked for Ivy. Every holiday decoration they hung together. Every conversation with Rowan that ended too early because she feared risking the friendship they already shared. Love had slowly become comfortable silence, and comfortable silence had become years of waiting. That evening Rowan returned home carrying leftover cookies Clara insisted Ivy would enjoy. The street looked peaceful beneath the golden afternoon light. He noticed Maren sitting alone on her porch, reading without turning a single page. Something felt different. The warmth that usually greeted him had disappeared behind careful distance. For the first time, Rowan recognized how empty the neighborhood looked whenever her smile was missing. Days turned into weeks. Clara kindly admitted they were better suited as friends. Rowan agreed. There was respect between them but no spark, no sense of belonging. Surprisingly, he felt relief instead of disappointment. Without realizing it, Rowan began paying closer attention to Maren. He noticed how she remembered everyone's birthdays. He noticed the tiny scar on her wrist from rescuing a stray kitten years earlier. He noticed how Ivy instinctively reached for Maren's hand whenever they crossed busy streets. Most importantly, he noticed how naturally peace entered his home whenever she visited. One rainy afternoon everything changed. Rowan received an urgent phone call at work informing him that Ivy had slipped during recess and injured her ankle. Traffic stood completely still because of an accident across town. Panic filled every thought. Before he could even decide what to do, another message arrived. Maren had already picked Ivy up from school, taken her to the clinic, and stayed beside her until Rowan arrived. When Rowan rushed into the examination room, Ivy smiled despite the bandage around her ankle. She reached for both adults without hesitation, placing one small hand in Rowan's and the other in Maren's. For one quiet moment they looked exactly like the family neither adult had dared imagine. Driving home through gentle rain, Rowan realized something profound. Every difficult chapter since Nora's passing carried one constant source of quiet strength. Maren had never tried replacing anyone. She simply helped carry burdens that became too heavy for one person alone. That evening Ivy fell asleep early after her exhausting day. Rowan remained awake staring through his living room window toward the softly glowing lights inside Maren's house. Memories rushed back with startling clarity. The snow she shoveled without being asked. The birthday gifts signed only from your neighbor. The encouraging notes left for Ivy before school performances. The countless moments of kindness he had accepted without ever asking why someone would care so deeply. The answer had been waiting across the street all along. The following morning Rowan walked across with fresh coffee and nervous determination. His heartbeat felt louder than his footsteps. When Maren opened the door, surprise immediately filled her eyes. For the first time in years, Rowan allowed complete honesty to replace fear. He admitted he had spent so long protecting his grief that he never noticed someone quietly helping him heal. He confessed that his blind date had shown him something unexpected. Throughout the afternoon he kept comparing every conversation to the effortless comfort he already shared with his neighbor. He thanked her for loving Ivy like family when she never had to. Most importantly, he admitted he wanted to know whether it was too late to begin seeing what had always been right in front of him. Tears filled Maren's eyes before joy gently replaced years of hidden heartbreak. She confessed that watching him leave on that blind date felt like watching hope drive away forever. The words she whispered that morning had stayed with her ever since. "Why not me?" She never expected those silent words would somehow find their answer. Love did not arrive with fireworks or dramatic declarations. It arrived through familiar mornings, shared grocery trips, bedtime stories, scraped knees, quiet laughter, and healing hearts choosing courage over fear. Rowan never stopped loving Nora. Instead, he discovered that love is not a single room with one locked door. The heart quietly builds new rooms when compassion, patience, and genuine kindness are welcomed inside. Months later the neighborhood looked much the same, yet everything had changed. Ivy's laughter echoed across both front yards as flowers bloomed brighter than ever. Rowan smiled more often than anyone remembered. Maren no longer watched from across the street because she was finally walking beside the people she loved. Their story reminded everyone nearby that sometimes the greatest love is not the one that arrives unexpectedly. Sometimes it patiently waits next door, asking for nothing except the chance to be seen. If this story touched your heart, reminded you of someone who quietly stood beside you during life's hardest moments, please like this video, leave a heartfelt comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel because your support helps these meaningful stories reach more hearts around the world. Before we say goodbye, please tell us in the comments, have you ever realized too late that someone had been quietly loving and supporting you all along? As the evening sun painted the sky with shades of gold, Rowan watched Ivy race through the garden while Maren laughed beside her. For the first time in many years, the silence around him no longer felt lonely. It felt peaceful. He finally understood that second chances rarely arrive with loud announcements. They often knock softly every single day through ordinary acts of kindness, waiting patiently until we are brave enough to open the door. And perhaps that is life's greatest miracle, not finding perfect love, but recognizing the faithful heart that never stopped believing in us, even when we could not believe in ourselves.